Imagine a world in which no one ever felt compelled again to erect a barrier to anyone or anything else. Imagine a world in which the joy were palpable and choosable and available in every moment. Imagine a world of no separation between us and every creature on this planet. Imagine a world of no separation between us and the earth, and us and each other. A world that invited each being to be the fullest expression of itself, not the least expression of itself. This is part of the world that I see. It is part of the future that I see and that I know we are on our way to creating. And a very famous man once said, "You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one." And this is within our grasp. Because the other thing, if people were truly willing to be their difference, is we would recognize that we together have the choice to create our future. To the second International Being You Day. Nice to be with you. Yay, us. Now, I'm in a room full of people who are happy to celebrate this day also. I'm facilitating a Symphony of Possibilities class, and so if you hear a bunch of crazy people laughing, screaming, and hollering, they do not all live with me. This is... Yeah, we're in an access class right now. It is such a pleasure to be speaking with you today. Being You Day was created because I wrote a book called Being You, Changing the World that came out in 2011. I received literally thousands of emails and messages, literally thousands. I'm one of the few people who knows what literally means, by the way. But that's a pet peeve, I'll tell you about it another time. I've received literally thousands of emails from people thanking me for the book and saying, I am so grateful to read this. I realize now I'm not alone. And I'm starting to explore what is true for me, and I didn't realize how much of that I'd given up. And that for me is one of the greatest gifts in the world. And seeing what a gift it is when we access what is uniquely us, and we don't have to hide it anymore. We don't have to shy away from it anymore. We don't have to make ourselves wrong. We don't have to make anybody else wrong. When we actually start, that's when we start the exploration of truly living. And you truly living is one of the greatest gifts you can be for you, but you truly living is one of the greatest gifts you give the world. When you do, you give other people permission to know that it's okay to be them, to know that they are not wrong, to know that they don't have to try to prove that they're right, to know that their very being has value. So International Being You Day is about celebrating that, inspiring you to know that there's something different possible, inviting you to explore the gift that you are and what is actually different about you, and empowering you to know that now is the space to actually choose it. Now is the space, my beautiful friends. And for me, I've been saying now is the time for a very long time. And that was a way of trying to get people to acknowledge that let's wake up, let's do this thing. You know that burning inside that you've had, that you knew there had to be something else available, something else possible, where you look around the world as it is and go, if this is all there is, why are we here? Why are we living life? What are we doing? And my personal point of view is that there is something so miraculous available, beyond our ability to even begin to put into words or cognitive understanding. That's actually what I'd like to explore with you today. I'd like to explore with you the universe that's possible when you're truly being you, beyond society's expectations or projections or judgments of you, beyond your family's projections, expectations, or judgments of you, beyond your projections, expectations, and judgments of you, beyond everything you've been avoiding, beyond everything you've been defending, beyond everything you've been thinking that you cannot be. And as you saw in the video that made me cry, who starts a talk by crying? Although it was great because I had somebody tell me, you can't talk and cry at the same time, at which point I went, I will too. I'm gonna talk and cry at the same time. Because that's us, right? I mean, really, when somebody says you can't, what do? I will too. If somebody says you can, you're like, no, I can't. That's just us. What if we could enjoy being us more than we ever imagined possible? What if now is the time and now is the space to enjoy being alive as us? What if today were perhaps the beginning, or perhaps a new beginning for you, to actually enjoy being alive as you? Now, we all have things in our lives we'd like to change, and we translate that a lot of times into, oh, I must be wrong because I don't have this, and I'm not this, and I can't seem to create this. But what if you're not wrong for what you have right now? What if the starting point is this question, what if I were not wrong? And what's right about me, I'm not getting. And don't just say it and then ignore it. Go truly, like get it. Get the energy of it. What if I were not wrong? And for some of you, you look like the cartoon where the clock pops its screws open. Your brain just went bling, does not compute, which should be an indication of how much you've been functioning from determining your reality from first what you're doing or being wrong, and then how to navigate away from that. Could you just for a moment ponder what it would be like to not be wrong and not start with the wrongness of you? Instead, to start with, I actually like me. Yeah, I've got stuff I'd like to change. And what if that idea that what we're doing and what we've chosen and what we've gotten to so far is wrong? What if it's actually something that we have misidentified and misapplied? What if it's actually that you know so much more is possible that you haven't yet gotten to? What if that's what's really going on? You know so much more is possible that you haven't yet gotten to or haven't yet chosen, so you go to, wow, I'm wrong because I don't have this yet. But what if you're not wrong? What if that's an awareness that there's so much more possible that I've never even considered I could have? What if you're not wrong for having that? What if you're not right for only having this? What if it's an awareness that there is something far bigger than any of us have ever imagined? At this moment, I'm a little bit lost for words. Because, see, I can't cry and talk. I'm going to prove it to you right now. I'm a little bit, or maybe a lot, lost for words because what I perceive opening up in our world is so fucking beautiful. It defies words. It defies explanation of how or why. And this, for me, has been one of the most difficult parts of this journey of exploration is everything that's truly miraculous, everything that's truly phenomenal, everything that's truly joyful, everything that's truly wonderful and glorious defies explanation, defies verbality. If you've ever had anything that was close to a miracle show up in your life, think about it for a moment, just ponder it. Where you asked for something and it actually showed up, really fast or in a way you didn't expect. Just ponder that for just a moment, okay? Now, could you tell somebody how it happened? No. You can't put miracles into words. That's why we call them miracles. But what if your need to put things into words as a way of thinking that you're understanding them is exactly what's been limiting us? So what I'm talking about is I am perceiving so much beauty possible that I can't even tell anybody about because you can't put that much beauty into words. I mean, I could say something that sounds so airy-fairy, like, what if you actually are a magical creature? But that sounds like, oh yeah, woo, hey, Dane, smoking the hookah, seeing the little worm, the little guy in Alice in Wonderland, you know what I mean? I'm like, what I'm talking about is very, 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 very present in the here and now and what I see as our possibilities for future. I'd like to invite you to those possibilities, whatever they are for you, because they're different for each of us. There are common threads that we all have, which is part of the beauty of this. The way I see it is we are like drops in the ocean who are simultaneously aware of ourselves as the drop, while simultaneously, the very same moment, aware of ourselves as the entire ocean. What would that be like? What if you realized you were no longer separate from the ocean? But what if you also recognize that the ocean is not there to hurt you and harm you and kill you and destroy you and leave you dried up on the shore where the ocean goes and does other stuff with all of its real drops that it likes? What a weird story to tell. What if you realized that this ocean, what if you lived in a benevolent ocean? What if you are one drop in a benevolent ocean? This idea that the world is malevolent has gone on far too fucking long. Part of the reason it has gone on is because those of us who have the capacity to change things, for all of us, have been standing on the sidelines. We have not been engaging. We're like, ooh, it's yucky, ooh, it hurts, ooh, there's judgment there, ooh. Let me just stand over here and be like, ooh. This is me, ooh. To you and you and you and all your stuff and all your stuff and all that stuff, ooh. Talk to this hand. No, not even this hand. Talk to this hand. Ooh. Okay? We've been standing on the sidelines, acting like we have no impact in the world. You guys watching this are the weirdos, the seekers, the dreamers. Okay? If you're on a thing called Being You Day, that automatically qualifies you as weird. Okay? Hallelujah! Let's celebrate our weird. Okay? Let's celebrate our weird and recognize that that weirdness is a gift. The original meaning of weird was of spirit, fate, or destiny. So one other thing I want to let you know is you are not alone. There are a lot of us weirdos who are waking up and going, you know what? Let's create a different world together. What I'm interested in is creating a different world together. But, okay, and I wrote this book, as I told you, called Being You, Changing the World. Create a different world together. What we tend to do is we tend to go, ooh, we need to go out there and change all that. You need to start right here and start liking you. Start getting the gift of you and the value of you, because when you get that, nobody can take it away. That entire world can say you're a pile of shit and you go, well, thank you for your point of view. Hello, have you seen this? If I were a pile of shit, I would not be wearing this suit right now. Hello, you know what I'm saying? Like, hello. Like, start recognizing your gifts. One of the things I love about the challenges, and I love that we call them challenges so you'll actually do them. You know, if we called them ease-filled, joyful experiences, you'd be like, oh, fuck that. No, man, where's the value in that? I need a challenge. Give me 24 challenges. All right. I did 12 of them, but I'm going to do the rest tomorrow. Because I had to sleep with my sister. Oh, no, sorry. That was weird. That was... I just said that just in case any of you have any judgments. So bring all those up. There's a way of changing judgment too, kids. Judgment of you or judgment of anybody. It's called the clearing statement. And if you're willing to let it go, all you got to do is go destroy and uncreate, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pod, all nine, shorts, boys, poveds, and beyonds. You can go to theclearingstatement.com if this is new to you. I used to sit and try to explain it. I used to avoid using the clearing statement, even though it's one of the primary tools I use in my life and in every session and every class I do every single day, because it's the most dynamic way of changing anything you've ever wanted to change. By undoing it at its point of creation, stopping it in its tracks, and you can change anything this way, okay? I used to avoid it. Why? Because I didn't want people, somebody out there watching that's new, go, oh my goodness, that's weird. You know what? If you hear that and you think that's too weird, this is not the place for you. okay? And when I got over that point of view, because look at this for a moment. That was me not being willing to be weird. That was me not being willing to put something out there in such a way that somebody might judge. How much do you do that in your life? How much do you avoid what you would like to say, what you would like to think even? You even do it in your friggin' head. You even will not think of things that other people might judge. What the fuck? Like fuck, for example, is a judgeable word. Anyway, here's a way of changing it. If you'd like to fucking change it. If we ever send this out to specifically children, we can just bleep out the fucks. And they'll be like, what was that bleeping thing we watched that guy on? It was International Being You Bleep Day. Was that what that was? Yeah, that's what that was. Everything that is. Will you rescind, revoke, recant, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate it all, please? Yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 9, shorts, boys, POVADs, and beyonds. We have the ability to change anything, my friends. And now, more than ever, is this required, but also now more than ever is it possible. Okay? So what we've been doing is we have been holding back what we are in favor of trying to create an image that works for everybody else about us. What does that have to do with you? Very little, except you judging you for everywhere you don't match the image that you have created as the perfection of you that other people must see so they don't judge you, so they might like you, except the problem is you don't like you. How many images have you been creating as a way of interacting with others, a way of trying to get them to like you, that cause you to be in judgment of you for everything you choose, every action you take, every word you utter, every thought you make? You take every move you make. Da-na-na, I'll be watching you. I don't know. Definitely I should not be singing. Definitely need to POC and POD that. Okay? Everything that is, and all of everything you've been avoiding and defending that keeps in place your image as a necessity. We're destroying ourselves with our images, guys. We're destroying ourselves. This is the primary source of all judgment of us. Oh, I didn't show up perfectly for my mom. I didn't show up perfectly for my dad. I didn't show up perfectly for my spouse, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, my lover, the checker at the store, the person who came to do my laundry, everybody. And we're trying to create an image rather than have the joy of being us, based on the idea that this image will make sure that not only are we not hurt by others because they won't judge us, but so we don't hurt them. Okay? Everything that is, will you rescind, revoke, recant, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate it? Yes. And everything you're avoiding and defending, right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all 9, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Now, if you're brand new, you've just heard about International Being You Day, and you're like, what the heck is going on? My brain is no longer working. You're welcome. I do realize that can seem uncomfortable if you start to have no thoughts in your head, or your thinker doesn't function as much. But our point of view in Access is if you're thinking, you're stinking. Okay? In other words, our thoughts pretty much are all judgments of us. Most of them. So what happens is when you get to a place where you're like, I think my thinker broke. Cool. See what space is available for you. What space is available for me? What can I choose that I never imagined was possible? What can I be that nobody ever showed me? What have I always wanted to be? What have I always wanted to do? How have I always wanted to show up that I haven't allowed myself to? And then what do? Then go everything that doesn't allow that, I destroy and uncreate it, POC and POD. Or right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 9, shorts, boys, POVADs, and beyonds. Whew! Okay, so I'm a weirdo. I know it. Okay? Once again, you do not wear this suit if you are not willing to be a weirdo. Okay? If you're trying to be plain Jane, or in this case, plain Dain, nuh-uh. You ain't wearing this suit. But it's not the suit. I can wear the suit because I'm willing to be the weirdo. If I weren't willing to be the weirdo, wearing the suit would not work very well. People go, geez, that suit looks, really, seriously, who wears a suit like that? I'm like, me. See, but because I'm willing to show up in whatever way I desire in whatever way will be fun. And also whatever way will create the most, hopefully. That's another one of my targets. I'm willing to be weird enough to actually choose those things. So everywhere you have not been willing to be weird enough to choose what you know would work for you, to know what would be fun for you, to know what would be wonderful for you, will you please rescind, revoke, recant, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate it all, please? Yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 9, shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. Now, some of you, part of my target with this hour, or however long we have together today, they allotted me an hour because they like me. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm one of your challenges. Oh, it's so good. That's awesome. Oh my God. And if you talk to my family, they'll be like, yes, you are one of our challenges. Thanks. Love you. You scare us, but we love you, is basically their point of view. That's so good. I can write that on my tombstone. He was one of our challenges on Being You Day. In 500 years, if I choose to die. Anyway, this space that is available now, because you know why I went there? Because I forgot what else I was going to say. After I was going to say something that I thought was really awesome to say, and then I realized I was one of your challenges, and I was so enamored with that thought that I forgot what else I was going to say. It's at this point that I look over to Monica, who I lovingly call my oracle, who takes a lot of notes for everything I'm saying. You being willing to be weird enough to choose what you know and what would work for you. Thank you. And what would be fun for you. So what I was going to say is my target with the time that we have together is actually to create some change, some shift. I can't tell you the number of things I have been to where people were like, this, and think about this, and write a list and judge this, and you're right for this and wrong for that, blah, blah, blah. And you'd sit there, and after an hour, you were like, well, that sounds great, but now I feel even more wrong. What I'm interested in, and the reason I'm going about it this way is because I found what I'd like to do is actually create change in this hour. Change so you actually have more access to that thing called you, whatever that is. Okay? And I have no point of view about what that is. I just know that when you access it, you get lighter, because what's true for you will always make you lighter. A lie for you will always make you heavier. How many things have you been trying to buy, especially in the last 2 years, that have made you really heavy? And you think you've got to go down that path of heaviness to create lightness. What if you didn't? What if when it's heavy, you could go, wow, that's a lie for me. That's not true. I can't turn a lie into a truth. I can just acknowledge it's a lie and set it over here. So how many lies have you been trying to buy that are not actually yours, but they're sticking in your eye like a piece of pie? It is at this moment that I realize I'm glad I did not go into poetry as a way of life. I would be really, really, really hungry right now. Anyway, everything that is, be rescind, revoke, recant, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate it all, please. Yes. Times a godzillion, which is a number so big only God knows. Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all 9, shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. What's true for you will always make you lighter. A lie will always make you heavier. And guess what? There is so much more access to what is true for us now than there ever has been. I don't know if you've noticed, but the last couple of years on our planet have sort of pressed the big red reset switch, or the unset switch, as it were. Wherever we had all of our set points, shit got shaken up. And yeah, you see all the people, trying to control and manipulate and, control and manipulate and control and manipulate. What if you didn't have to resist and react to that anymore? What if you looked at that and went, okay, cool, interesting point of view. They have the point of view that they think they can do that much control of all of us. What if you, claiming and owning and being you? What if you, claiming and owning the power and potency of you? What if you, claiming and owning the interesting point of view of you, and the being and allowance of you, and the vulnerability of you, and the gratitude of you, and the joy of you, and the trust of you, would make it so you could never be controlled again? Now, there's a lot of people in the room that are like, fuck yes. I hope you are too. This is within our grasp, my beautiful friends. And it doesn't occur the way you think it should. It occurs by you going on the journey of finding out what is true for you, which is why we have the 24 beautiful invitations for today, because they're about you being you, stepping out of the box a little bit, but not too much to be really uncomfortable unless you want to, which is always fun, because you always find more of you. But that's why we have these challenges, these invitations today, because all that is required for that to occur is you to actually get in touch with what is true for you. So, a couple other things I'd like to give you as awarenesses. One is that one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is to function as the rock in the stream. What does that mean? Well, it's something that we call allowance in Access. Allowance is where everything is just an interesting point of view. For example, you hear about lockdowns, and thank goodness most of those are going away. Hello, hallelujah, thank you. Or something that, sticks you. Well, rather than being stuck, rather than thinking that our power is in fighting against, our power is not in fighting against. Our power is choosing beyond. That's where our power is. And you're like, what? I thought I had to fight against in order to choose beyond, in order to create something beyond. No, that's a lie. See, here's the deal. Have you ever dealt with a child? Okay, if you go down to their level, you are not getting anywhere, okay? They're like, and if you go down like, and you're like, and it doesn't go anywhere. But if instead you stay up here and you ask them a question, and when I say stay up here, I mean, you're probably already up here because they should be shorter than you probably, except for most, anyway. But if you don't, anything you fight against, you have to go to its level to fight it. And now it traps you. The secret, the missing element, lies in two things: vulnerability and interesting point of view. I have this point of view. Justin Ipov, okay? It's Justin Ipov. It's just an interesting point of view. Now I need to say that because otherwise people go to point of view, as in point of view, as in making you a point. No, this is making you an unpoint, making you a space when you go interesting point of view. I have this point of view. Let's do this. Everything that doesn't allow you to laugh at everything I say. Everywhere you've taken away your permission to laugh. Everywhere you're like, okay, I will laugh when it is appropriate, but it is not a comedy show, so therefore I will not laugh. Which makes you kind of feel a little uptight, people. I don't know if you noticed, but you squeak when you walk. Because your butt cheeks are a little clenched, and you're like, everything that brought. You don't have to like my humor, okay? But if you don't, you're not very humorous. Just saying, I'm kidding. It's a joke. I feel the people out there going, did you hear what he said to me? Hey, it's free, shut up. Okay, so. Everything that doesn't allow you the freedom to laugh more and not have to take yourself so seriously. And everything you've been avoiding and defending so you can be as serious as you're supposed to be to prove that you get it. Because if you're too happy, people are like, you're an idiot, you don't get it. What if you're happy because you get it and you get what they don't get? What if you're happy because you realize it's all cool, it's all good? What if you're happy because you realize I'm okay, I'm actually doing pretty well, and I'll contribute to anybody in doing well too that's willing to have it, but also I don't have to, but also I don't have to judge anybody, including myself. Everything that is, and also everything that doesn't allow you to laugh at everything I say. And everything that doesn't allow you to laugh at everything you say. Everything that doesn't allow you to laugh at everything you think. A great question is, what's funny about this that I'm not laughing at? Will you destroy and uncreate all that, please? Yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. Oh, did anybody get a sense of more lightness? Yes. Oh, sometimes all we need is permission. Sometimes all we need is the invitation and a little bit of permission to say, hey, it's okay. Because we don't realize where we've shot ourselves in the foot. We don't realize how much of us we have shut off growing up in this world. I mean, think about it for a moment. When you were a little kid, did you have more freedom to laugh? Yeah. Like, think about being a little kid if you can't get being a little kid. Some of you, like, by the time you were 6, you were the adult in the family, so you had no more freedom to laugh. You had to take care of everyone. Why? Because you had the power. Okay? And your mom and dad were like, I don't think I'm as capable as you are. Here, you handle everything. And you're like, I am 6. I will do it. That's a level of power. That's some awesome stuff. That is the greatness of you. That is not a wrongness of you. Everything that is. Everybody thought you were wrong somehow because you're always the serious one. You're always the one that makes sure everybody else is taken care of. No, that's a power. That's a power. The challenge is that you had so much placed on your young shoulders that you didn't really know how to handle it or deal with it, and you've been doing the best damn job you can with the tools you have available. The difficulty is it doesn't allow you to laugh very much. Okay? Everything that is. And even when I say laugh, some of you are like, no, laughter bad. Laughter means somebody could die. Not serious enough. No, I'll be serious so everybody doesn't die. You know what? My lack of laughter is keeping everyone alive. Okay, don't you understand? All the lies you bought about that and all the truths with lies attached, everything you've been avoiding, everything you've been defending, will you rescind, revoke, or can't, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate it, please? Times a godzillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all 9, pod, poc, shorts, boys, poveds, and beyonds. Now, I know some of you might have the weird impression, I don't know where you got it, that I talk too fast. Everything that doesn't allow you to keep up with me and be as fast as you are, silly goose. Will you rescind, revoke, or can't, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate it all, please? Yes. Times a godzillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all 9, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyond. There's one other possibility out there, and that is that I am just pissing you the fuck off right now. If I am pissing you the fuck off, you are in exactly the right place. Why? Because what you're judging in me is what you used to be that you don't allow yourself to be anymore. And when you are made wrong for something, you end up being the judge of other people for that thing. What? What? Oh, how many things have you been judging other people for that aren't even your judgments, but you were just an open, aware being that was probably too much? Your parents, your family, somebody couldn't handle you being that much. They judged you and were like, shut down, you're too much. You're making me uncomfortable. And you went, okay, now I'll be this. And then you see somebody else being too much, like you were too much, and you're like, you're wrong, you're bad, you're too much, shut down. Don't you know? Mommy told me when I was 4 that I was too much, and you're too much now, so I'm shutting you down too. What if those aren't really your judgments? What if you don't really judge other people? What if the only person you actually ever judge is you? And what if now's the time to fucking stop it? Everything that allows that, everything that doesn't allow that, will you rescind, revoke, or can't, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate it, and everything you've been avoiding and defending. Yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all 9, shorts, boys, poveds, and beyonds. Oh, beautiful people around the world, how you feeling? How you doing? Is there any more? Woohoo! Now, I know those of you in the room, I know y'all are awesome. I wonder about the people around the world who were like, what just happened at me? You're welcome. How much longer do I have to harass them? However long I want? Oh, good. I have a half an hour and go as long as I want. He knows he has to tell me that because I'm going to go as long as I want anyway. But everybody on my team that works with me is like, they're like, hey, you can go as long as you want. Because they know if they say you only have a half an hour, I'm going to go for like 6 hours. Right? How many of you are like that? If somebody says you do this, you're like, and they're like, you can't do that. You're like, Yep, that's called being a humanoid. You friggin' weirdo, you're awesome. Time to acknowledge the gift. Everything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, poc and pod, all 9, shorts, boys, poveds, and beyonds. So, as I was talking about, oh, by the way, how many of you have ADHD, like me? How many of you have made yourselves wrong for it? Yes. Or been made wrong for it? Yes. Yeah, pretty much all of us, right? Because what do? You're going down a road that's really awesome, it's great, and then there's something, a bright, shiny thing. It's like, over here, and you're like, oh yeah, and once you go down that road, that tangent, you've always been on it from your point of view. And you go down that road until there's another bright, shiny thing. And then you're, no, yeah, I've always been here. And then somebody's like, excuse me, what were you talking about on this road? Remember, like, this, with that? And you're like, when was I ever there? I don't remember that at all. So everything you've done to make yourself wrong for being ADHD. And then a lot of you are also OCD. Woo! Oh yeah. Oh yeah, what's OCD? OCD is somebody who has the awareness of every single thought, feeling, and emotion that everybody else has for 8 to 8,000 square miles. Wow, now I just depressed you, I apologize. Shouldn't have done that. But OCD is like, when you combine that with ADHD, woo, what do you have? A superstar? Hello? Apparently you all don't agree. Sorry. See, but my point of view and our point of view after exhaustive research with actual people who have ADHD, OCD, ADD, ADHD, and autism is that they are like the X-Men. They're the mutation of the species to a higher order of function. What if everything that you thought was a wrongness of you, everything is actually a strongness of you? Whoa. ADHD, for example. ADHD is the ability to hold multiple realities in your awareness simultaneously. People with ADHD get shit done, and not linearly. But because they do it non-linearly, they make themselves wrong, and other people make them wrong because other people can't follow it. Kind of like me talking today. Any of you who wanted a linear conversation are like, what the fuck am I watching? Right? Yeah, but if you're willing to have the energetic conversation, meaning if you're willing to go, well, I have no idea what he's saying, but I feel better. What if that were all it took? I have no idea what's going on here, but I feel better. I have no idea how to identify or quantify or understand this or identify it or define it. And definition by definition alone is limitation. I have no idea how to define this, but I am getting lighter and lighter, and I don't even know what he's saying. Especially that damn clearing statement. Plus, then he adds fuck every now and again, which fucking pisses me off. So all of your judgments of fuck, everywhere you were made wrong for saying fuck. Some people don't want to let that one go. Will you let go of part of your judgments about that word? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, povads, and fucking beyonds. Thank you. Okay, good. I do realize I'm pushing buttons. And some people out there are like, I will never watch him again. He has such a potty mouth. I'm like, thank you for your judgment. Because here's something you don't know about judgment. For every judgment you're willing to receive, you make $5,000 more that year. For every judgment you reject, you lose $10,000. What? People are like, does not compute, does not compute. Just look at it for a moment. What is receiving judgment? See, in order to actually receive money, in order to receive love, in order to receive kindness, in order to receive caring, in order to receive gratitude, you have to be willing to receive. Meaning, you have to not have walls and barriers around you to everything. Because here's the deal. Most people think judgment is this bad, terrible energy, right? Yeah? Most people in the world? Yeah. A lot of people in the room are like, I don't remember what judgment is. I don't have any, so I don't know. Yeah, that's because you've been doing Access a while, kids. Okay? But most people think judgment is a terrible energy that should be avoided. And I used to have the same point of view. When somebody would judge me, I'd be like, oh my God, they don't see me. I'm just trying to give to them. I'm trying to make them happy. And they're like, you're a jerk. You don't get me. Because people always accuse you of what they themselves are doing. So they'll accuse you of being selfish when they're selfish. They'll accuse you of trying to take from them when they're secretly trying to take from you. Please have that in your awareness. I've given you about 20 tools so far today, by the way, just in case you haven't noticed. Like that, people always accuse you. And so anyway, what happens is when somebody is judging you, if you align and agree with that judgment, that's the positive polarity. So if somebody goes, you're a jerk, alignment and agreement is, oh my God, I'm a jerk. Okay? Now, that's just their point of view. It's just their judgment that they use to navigate their reality. It's their judgment they use to put everybody and everything in a box so they don't ever have to think about them again. Oh, you're a jerk, I put you over here. I don't ever have to deal with you again. That's their thing, not yours. People will say, oh, you're just all about the money. Guess what? That's their money thing, not yours. What? Yeah, People tell you what their point of view is by the judgment they direct at you about you that's not about you. It's always about them. What? But wait, I've been making it true. I know, so did I. And I wanted to kill myself 22 years ago. Literally, I set a date to end my life. And then I had an Access Consciousness bar session, and it changed. I went into the session depressed and suicidal and came out of it with a gratitude for being alive. It changed in an hour and 15 minutes. I went from dying to flying. I never said it that way. That was good. That was great. That was so cool. It let me know that change that I had always hoped could occur this fast. I'd never experienced it before in my life, and I was like, I'm in. I'm ready to live. Not only that, though, I want everybody to know this is possible, which is why I'm sitting in front of you. I look like I'm standing almost, though. Sitting in front of you today, having this conversation. Anyway, going back to the whole judgment idea, they give you their point of view with the judgment of you that they give you. It's actually their point of view about them. So, when somebody says, you're a jerk,
thank you.
Lower the walls and barriers and go, oh, thank you. Or, what makes you say that? I don't recommend that one if they're really mean. I recommend lowering your walls and barriers and going, oh, thank you. Why? Because what will happen? They will be totally disarmed because people try to control others with their judgment and their anger. That's what judgment and anger are for, is to control you. Now, you can let them control you or you cannot. This is your choice. Back to the tool I was talking about interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view is where you're there and everything is just an interesting point of view. So somebody goes, you're a jerk, and you go in your head, interesting point of view, they have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view, because you realize you are developing a point of view about their point of view. And then interesting point of view, I have this point of view that they have this point of view, which already got very confusing, so let me simplify it for you. Okay? If you want to, you can get some upset that you've had, and maybe you don't want to because you have a sense of lightness and you're like, I don't know where we're going or why, but I'm lighter, so I don't want to get this upset. So do this later if you want to. Get an upset that you've had in your world. Get the energy of it. You know, something that's still been there after a week or two or something where you're like, I can't get rid of it. And just get that energy and say to that energy, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Cool. Had to wait for a translation around the world. That was interesting. As we waited for a translation, you could feel it sort of change around the world. And some people are like, yeah, and some people are like, you're weird. You really think that's existing? I'm like, you're weird. You don't get it? Hello? And why is that? Why do you do that? If you know magic exists, if you're actually talking to beings when you're a little kid and your parents go, oh, you're too weird. No, that doesn't exist. Why is it you're wrong? Why is it the person that has the judgment and not the, why is it that the person who has the possibilities is made wrong? Just because you can perceive something they can't, why are you wrong? Why are they not wrong? Why don't they go, oh my God, why can't I perceive what my child is perceiving? Like when I talk about perceiving this around the world, I'm not kidding. I don't make shit up. I'm not one of those idiot people who's like, I'm so cool because I can perceive it around the world. How many of you have known people like that and invalidated yourself because they said that, but there wasn't actually anything going on? Everything that is, will you destroy and create it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Back to our conversation. I managed to get back to my conversation. This is the first. Today is a new day, kids. So get the sense of that energy. Notice it's usually changed, even with just one time. Now to the energy that's there. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Usually changes again. Now to whatever energy is still there. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. And one more time, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. And again, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. What happens to it? Usually between about 3 and 7 times it disappears. What? What did you do? You took your point of view out of it. You took the polarity away. That's also exactly what the clearing statement does. It takes the polarity away, which takes it from solid and stuck and just goes, because now it can just be. It can be an interesting point of view, and you're the one making that choice. So once again, to reiterate, all you got to do is take any upset that you've had, any yuck, stuck, or what the fuck energy that's in your world, and just go, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Like, let's say you had a friend, they didn't call, or you had a date and they didn't show up, or you had somebody, whatever, your plant died, whatever it is. Whatever yuck, stuck energy is there. And just go, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Be present with it. It'll change. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Be present with it. It'll change. Interesting point of view, it's gone. Now, here's the thing is, I'm giving you these tools because I'd like you to have this, because I'd like you to navigate the world rather than from being pulled over here and avoiding people and avoiding things and defending against people's judgments and such. I'd like you to be able to be present with anything and anyone. Because as I was saying, every judgment you're willing to receive and not reject, you make $5,000 more that year. Now, some of you, when I said the word money and $5,000, already went into judgment. Why? Because you have the point of view that money is a bad thing. I used to also. 2 things I'd like to talk to you about with regard to the money thing. Can you change the world more with money or without money? With. Yep, you can contribute to people, you can do things, you can, send kids to school that might need it, you can gift people things that will make their world better and change, which is personally how I do Christmas presents. I find people where contributing some money or presents to them would truly change their life, and that's where I put my money and my energy. And you can feel the whole world expand, which expands the world and my world, okay? That's us. That's the generosity of us. Anytime we're doing judgment, we're not being the generosity of us. So first thing, can you change the world more with money or without? With. And also, what if the purpose of money is to change people's realities? I had a conversation with my friend Gary Douglas, the founder of Access, when I first started Access 22 years ago. And one of my big issues was money. Because from my family, I learned that money is a big issue. Oh my goodness, I'm sure none of you learned that from your families. Let's do this to try to knock a brick out of the wall. Everything you aligned and agreed with and resisted and reacted to, and everything you've been holding on to that you learned from your family that money is a big issue, not an easy thing to create. Will you rescind, revoke, recant, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and create everything you aligned and agreed with and resisted and reacted to and are avoiding and defending? Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 9, shorts, boys, povets, and beyonds. So, for every judgment you're willing to receive, what is receiving? Somebody goes, you're a jerk, and you go, oh, thank you. Receiving is lower the walls and barriers and let it through. Receiving is not taking it in and locking it in, okay? How many energies have you been refusing? Putting up walls and barriers because it's like, oh, that's a big bad energy, that's terrible. They don't like me, it feels so bad, let me put up walls and keep it out. Here's the problem with putting up a wall, my friends. The wall does not know to let in money, let in love, let in joy, let in kindness, let in creativity, let in space, let in Earth's energy, let in your body's joy. It keeps everything out. So when we erect walls, we keep everything out, and it's amazing that anything can get in. Almost every problem you might be having in your life can be remedied by starting to tear down the walls that keep you separate. Because you, my friend, are an infinite being. You are not only the drop, but you are also the ocean, and when you put up the walls, you try to keep your drop separate from the ocean. Would you consider the possibility of letting down the walls? Perhaps more than you ever have before. Now, you can re-erect them. I'm just asking you to let them down for a little bit, see what it's like. See what it's like actually to interact with the world and no longer be separate and alone. Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all 9, shorts, boys, povets, and beyonds. This is just a choice on the one hand. It's an experience on the other, and it's a journey also. A dynamic journey if we choose to go on it. But that's where you get to be you. Is that space where you have no separation between you and the rest of the world. Because you don't require it. Because you don't require it. A space of being where you have no separation between you and the world because you don't require it in order to have you. Where you walk through the world and rather than feeling like you're getting the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune and you don't know what to do and you don't know where to go and it feels like every day you feel like you get less and less and more stressed and more tired. What I'm talking about is walking through the world and no longer requiring the walls and barriers. Actually walking through the world and going, wow, no matter what your point of view is, no matter what your point of view is, no matter what your judgment is, I'm okay. I got me. And actually having the gratitude for having you, having the joy of having you. Now, some of you are getting really friggin' relaxed. Some of you want to call that tired. Your eyes are like, is he still talking? What is happening? Okay, just ask, is that relaxation? Because part of what I'm doing with this is inviting you to a space of this being that I'm talking about and that I have been talking about from the beginning. Every single conversation that I have had is about you being able to access the space of your being. But we have no cognitive understanding of the space of our being. In fact, when you're truly being you, it doesn't feel like anything. It feels like nothing. Have you ever had a space where you're like, wow, I have no idea who I am? For people in class, they're like, yeah, for the last 3 days. For the rest of you, tap into them if you want to. If you dare. If you dare to be that undefined. But, ooh, sorry, just look at the camera. Fashion is so important. When you're truly being you, it feels like nothing. And it's so weird. And the first time I experienced it, I was like, what is wrong? And I was grateful. I was talking to my friend Gary, and I said, Gary, he said, how are you doing? Because I was in a pile of poo. You ever get in a pile of poo? Yes. How many of you get in a pile of poo so you know who you are? Because you know who you are when you're in the pile of poo. You know that energy. We've all been there, done that so many hundreds of thousands of billions of times. Okay? And you know who you are when you're getting out of it. And you know who you are once you've just popped out of it for a moment. You know that glorious popping sound your head makes when it comes out of your butt? You know that I'm talking about? Where you're like, woo-hoo-hoo, it's so wonderful. But then after you be that for like, I don't know, a few hours or a day, you're like, okay, I don't know how to be this. I don't know. Because as soon as you become it, you're so undefined, you don't have a reference point for you anymore. Okay? You're so undefined, you don't have a reference point for you anymore. And so what happens is then you go to create crap so that you can go back to that place where you know who you are. So everywhere you've defined that you know who you are when you're in the crap, when you're in the suffering, and everywhere you bought that from your mom and dad and other wonderful people who didn't have the tools that you may have, that you now have actually, will you please, everything you've done to buy that and everything you've done to defend that and make it real and avoid the space that you know that nobody else does, will you please destroy and uncreate all that? Yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all 9, shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. By the way, my hands just move when the energy moves, so sorry, or not. It's no longer a judgeable offense, I guess I'm okay. Oh, I feel like I knocked out the whole world. It'd be interesting if some of you, like after this, leave your house and see if everybody is sleeping. You know, like one of those movies, you know, where you're like, oh my God, they're all sleeping. What happened? You know, kind of like a pre-zombie movie sort of thing. But I mean, let's face it, we've been living through the zombie apocalypse. Haven't we? I mean, really, like, anyway, that's just my personal point of view. Interesting point of view, just to clarify. Okay, you're welcome. So, if you no longer have to have a wall or barrier up to anyone or anything, you truly get to perceive everything. And you also truly get to perceive and receive and know the gift of you. Because the gift of you is when you don't have to have a wall or barrier, because the gift of you is that you are an infinite being. Think of infinite for a moment. You can't think of it, actually. Notice how you go to think of it and you're like, yeah, infinite, as big as the universe. What? That's weird. Yeah, I know, but it's you. You have this body inside of you, okay? Because if you go to expand out, like, I don't know, 10 miles, 100,000 miles, whatever, wherever you go, there you are. This body is inside of you. That being requires space in order to access everything it's capable of. Every judgment we have of us limits the space we have available. Every judgment we try to have of somebody else, because we're not good at it, contracts the space we have available. Every wrongness of us contracts the space. But every time you're joyful, every time you laugh, every time you look in the mirror and love that son of a bitch looking back at you, it's just like, wow, you're so wonderful. I just want to reach in the mirror and cuddle you, and you're like, oh, you're so wonderful. You give yourself more space. Laughter creates far more change and far more possibilities than tears. What if it's time for us to get over the judgment of us, to get over being serious, to recognize that everything we thought was a wrongness is actually a strongness, and actually to go, you know what? I'm going to have the world and the reality I know is possible that nobody else does. You know is possible that nobody else does, that nobody has ever asked of you. What do you know is possible that nobody else does, that nobody has ever asked you or asked of you? I'm asking you to know that you know. I'm asking you to follow that knowing. I'm asking you to allow that knowing to guide you to whatever is truly possible for you beyond this reality and all of its limitations. So what energy, space, consciousness, and choice beyond this reality can you and your body be? To perceive, know, be, and receive everything that is truly possible for you and us beyond this reality. Everything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Yes. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys, poveds, and beyonds. How much longer, Mr. Brett? Because I can't see a time thing anywhere. 4 minutes. 4 minutes? Oh, shit. Okay. So I would like to take as long as I would like. I'm sure the other challenge will, you don't have to take the whole hour on the other challenge, right? I would like to do something with you that and you can close your eyes if you want. And what I'd like you to do is, if you would, lower the walls and barriers and just let it in. I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but 22 years ago, I found that I had an energetic capacity that would allow me to contribute to individuals and groups, and actually found that it could contribute to people around the world in creating more of an opening for that space. And you don't have to keep your eyes closed. I don't care. Some people receive more with their eyes closed. I was just wondering how sweaty I'm being. Pretty sweaty, probably. So what I'd like to do, I don't care. Shit, I sweat. There you go. Deal with that. That's one of the things a lot of people would be like, T-Rex arms. I'm going to do a session with T-Rex arms. Because I sweat. I'm like, I sweat. Hello. So good. Just to clarify, I sweat, but I also wear deodorant. Thank you. Okay, because you ever had an overarm hug from somebody who doesn't wear deodorant? Woo! Woo! You wearing somebody else's stink all day long. Ooh! Woo, baby. Damn. Now, for people who don't wear deodorant, some of them just went into judgment themselves. Could you feel it? You're like, what is that weird? That was supposed to be funny. It was funny, and then, ooh. We're so good. Everything that brought up or let down. Whether you wear the deodorant or you don't. You sweat or you don't. You got some way to take a point of view with everything anybody says anywhere ever. Will you rescind, revoke, recant, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate all that shit, please. And give up needing to be right or wrong. Times a godzillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, POD, POC, shorts, boys, poveds, and beyonds. I say again, you can go to theclearingstatement.com if you would like an explanation of the clearing statement. Okay, so this energy, or space, or whatever the heck it is, I call it ESB, energetic synthesis of being, or ESC, energetic synthesis of communion. And all I'm looking to do is, I think, knock off some of the chunks of the wrongness of you, but also where you use that to enforce the separation of you from you as you enforce the separation of you from others. Oi. And I do mean oi. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. Now, I have no idea what the heck I'm doing, by the way. I mean, I do. I know what I'm doing, but I don't know what I'm doing. In other words, I totally know what I'm doing, but I have no idea how to define what I'm doing. And what I'm hoping is that some of you out there, even those of you who are like, oh my God, energy, I don't get energy, I don't understand it. There's no way you can't not get energy. Did I say that right? Yeah. All of us get energy. I can explain that to you in a class sometime. I'm not going to bother doing that right now. And if you just want to look at me and go, look at that weirdo. Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. I've lately resorted to doing more things to get judged. Cha-ching, cha-ching. For every judgment you're willing to receive and not reject. $5,000 more that year. Cha-ching, cha-ching. That is the one thing. When we got that information, it was over 20 years ago that Gary and I found this, because we were talking to people about judgment. They're like, no, it's so big, it's so strong. We are weak and it is strong. I'm like, the judgments are not Jesus, okay? You know that song? Yes, Jesus loves me, we are weak and he is strong. I don't like it either. And Jesus is, wherever Jesus is, going, Jesus Christ, what, these fuckers? Try to empower them and fuckers. Don't get me started on Yahweh and Muhammad. I like that. You can feel people's sphincters pucker around the world. They're like, what's he going to say? Nothing. Jesus Christ. Why don't they do like Yahweh, Shahweh, or, you know? Oh, you're not supposed to say the name. Sorry. It's a good thing my book is not called Be Jew, Change the World. Because clearly I do not get it. Now, here's the thing with all of this. Though you may not think so, you can be any religion and do access. I know it's weird, okay? Or you can be no religion. Okay, here's the definition of consciousness. Where everyone and everything exists and no one and nothing is judged. There's no exclusion, there's no separation. Will you allow more space, my beautiful friends? And will you allow this? And I hope you're perceiving it, but you don't actually have to perceive it. Like, you don't have to even feel it, which is weird. You're like, but if I don't feel it, how do I know it's working? Well, I don't feel anything right now. I've got a sense of space and space shifting. And when I do sessions, and I've done hundreds of thousands of them, literally, I don't feel. There's these subtle shifts that are sometimes huge shifts, but it's like the subtlety of space. It's kind of like being in a dream or a movie where you're like playing with these energies. I don't know. Okay. I'm trying to explain something that I cannot explain clearly. But the only reason I do that is because if you don't reject it, actually, even if you do reject it, it'll still work. But if you don't reject it, you can add this sort of flavor of energy, this space to your energetic toolbox. You can add it to your experience of being alive. All of this is about what can you add to your experience of being alive? What can you add to your experience of being alive? What can you add to your experience of being alive? What can you add to your experience of being alive? What can you add to your experience of being alive? What else can you add to your experience of being alive? And is now the space. Now is the space, my beautiful friends. For the awareness you have to truly be, for the kindness you are to emerge, for the joy you are to be unsuppressed and thrive, for the abundance you are to be, for the gift you are to be known to thee, and for our world to finally be a world which encompasses all possibilities and change, and goes beyond polarity and needing to keep things the same to prove they are the same thing tomorrow as they were today and yesterday. Now is the space, my beautiful friends. Can we ask for that, please? And also the space for your entire being to be and have permission and freedom to thrive. We're going to do something called a 12, just because I wasn't weird enough already. And I'm just going to ask you to gather the energy. I'm going to count to 12, and then let's explode it around the friggin' planet. And maybe beyond. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. 12. Now, as if we weren't weird enough, we're going to do 13 through something. I don't know the something until I get there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, sorry, we're going to do something called a 10. A 10 is a photon wavelength. Photons can either be a wave or a particle, which is where you slice up the wave and create the separation. So basically, it can either be the ocean or the drop. The photon wavelength returns everything to the awareness of it being the ocean and the drop simultaneously. On 10. So I'd like you to gather the photon wavelength energy into your body. And I almost hate to do this because it sounds so friggin' significant. I apologize. It's really wonderful, though. Ask for that. And on 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Wow. It's interesting because most people who create a day like this create the day to try to get more followers to their platform. That's why they do it. That's why they do it. Some people create a day to try to create a movement and a change in the world. That is what this day is for me and for our entire group of idiots that have worked on it. And I am, I'm an idiot also, okay? But we recognize, when you're willing to go, oh, it's a conglomeration of idiots, it's so freeing. Because you're like, oh, I'm an idiot. Okay, that got done, that didn't get done, whatever. It's like, it's all okay. Even when you really like to be wrong, it's tough to make yourself wrong when you're in a conglomeration of idiots. Okay? We're used to being the lone idiot. It's wonderful when you can find a conglomeration of them. And it's a way of lightening things, going beyond judgment. But for all of us, this day is about what tsunami of being can we unleash into our world. So if it were about getting more followers to access, oh, by the way, Access doesn't do followers. We're really bad at followers. And for me personally, it's like, I think a lot of you guys are probably the same way. Don't you hate followers? Are there any more boring people on the planet? I think not, okay? What I'd like to do is I'd like to empower an entire world of leaders, okay? A leader is someone who knows where they can go and need to go, and it doesn't matter if anybody else gets it or anybody else comes along. A true leader does not require followers. A true leader chooses according to what they know and what the world is asking for. So Whoa. Anybody else notice a different space? Is it kind of beautiful? When something is beautiful, please acknowledge it, because part of what will open up for you as you go on this journey of exploring you is the beauty that has been all around you all the time. And it will be so dynamic that you will wonder how you missed it for so long. But now is the space, my beautiful friends, for you to embrace the being you truly be, to embrace the gift of the being you truly be, and to embrace the communion and connection with all of us and the planet and every molecule of consciousness to create the world of possibilities we are here to create. Thank you so much for being with me. Thank you so much to the conglomeration of idiots that put this day together. The conglomeration of brilliant friggin' idiots. Brilliant friggin' people. Thank you. And we have more day to go, so look out for the next challenges and invitations, and please have too much fun. And what if you, truly being you, with an awareness of you as the gift and the possibility and the leader, are truly the gift, the change, and the possibility this world requires. See you soon, beautiful people. Mwah. Woo! Yay! Thank you. Bye-bye.